yeah, getting our workout on. Yeah. Burpee time, ready?
No.
Come on. Let's go. 1,
I can touch the ceiling.
2, 3. Hitting it. Come on, don't slow up now. Come on. What's wrong? Get up.
I can't breathe.
Come on. John, what's wrong? Come on. It wasn't that bad. It's just burpees. Come on.
I can't breathe.
Oh my God, you're serious. Let me go get help. Hold on. Hello? Yes. Yes, I need an ambulance.
Come in.
Hey John, how we feeling today?
Feeling okay, I guess.
You've had a rough day in here already for a skateboard injury and now back again. I have some news to tell you. It looks like you just suffered from a pulmonary embolism.
Pulmonary embolism. Isn't that something that like old people get normally, or people that have been on flights recently?
Yes, generally at your age, pulmonary embolisms do not occur. I need to discuss the results of your blood test with you. It might help explain why you stopped being able to breathe during your workout. You see, it turns out that you were affected with factor V Leiden thrombophilia, a genetic disorder caused by APC resistance.
Oh, okay, sure. Let's go over that then, I guess.
Yeah, in a little bit we'll go ahead and go over it, and I'll explain further what that means. But for now, rest, take it easy, and I'll see you in a few.
Okay.
Okay, so remember the clotting factors that are circulated to the site of injury by the blood plasma during the coagulation step of blood clotting?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so here, let me show you, because it'll be easier explained with a diagram.
Okay.
So, normally, you have a factor V gene, which produces your factor V clotting proteins. And so it's on your DNA, and normally when you break a blood vessel, it signals to this gene and it gets activated by a protein. And so once it's turned on, it produces factor V clotting proteins that circulate to the site of injury. And they're numbered in Roman numerals. So your factor V reacts with your factor X protein, and these two are actually what create the prothrombin, which activates the thrombin, which converts the fibrinogen to the fibrin, which ends in your fibrin meshwork of the step 3 coagulation process. That's what seals the wound. And so I have there, you have an effective clot.
So that's basically the start of the scab process, right? That stops me from bleeding?
Right, and that's normal.
Okay.
So then after you form your clot, this protein C, APC, it turns off the factor V. It signals to the gene on your DNA, turns it off. It stops producing your factor V proteins, and your meshwork is complete. No more is added. It's just big enough to seal the wound and do what it needs to do. And normally it takes, 2 to 6 minutes, depending on the size of the injury, for blood to clot. Now with factor V Leiden, that's a little different. So what happens is you have your blood vessel, and it's started the fibrin meshwork. So your gene's turned on, everything's normal in that process up until this point. However, the CAPC with factor V Leiden, it develops APC resistance. So it's not working on the factor V proteins. It's not turning them off. So your fibrin meshwork gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So you just keep clotting, and you clot for longer than a normal person. And this, in turn, increases the risk for pulmonary embolism, which is what you had, or deep vein thrombosis. Now, granted, statistically, it's about 1 in 1,000 people with factor V Leiden end up having a pulmonary embolism or deep vein thrombosis. Usually there's other factors involved, but this definitely is an issue as far as your regular clotting process. So, any questions?
So you're saying that my scratch on my knee went to my lung, basically, and dropped me on the floor in the middle of a workout?
Potentially. It could have been a clot from within your body. You get nicks in your blood vessels all the time. It could be from a long time ago, and they become so a clot is also known as a thrombosis, and it could get dislodged from its original site and start floating around your body in an embolus. And when it gets to the smaller blood vessels, it gets wedged in there, and it blocks passage of blood through, which limits the amount of oxygen you're receiving, which ultimately is what happened in your lungs to create the pulmonary embolism that you experienced.
Well, thanks for enlightening me on that. I appreciate it.
Sure. Well, take care of yourself and continue with the exercise and taking care of your body, and hopefully this won't be an issue in the future.
Alrighty, thank you.
Mm-hmm.